Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to Baseball Central in Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada, for game number 6 of the WBSC Women's Baseball World Cup, Group A, between Canada and Hong Kong, China. We are pleased to say today's game is being played on the traditional lands of the Ojibwe people of the Fort William First Nation, signature to the Robinson Superior Treaty of 1850. We also like to recognize the contributions of the Métis people of our area and our community. At this time, I would like to introduce you to the starting lineups for each of the teams, starting with Canada. The manager and the rest of his staff, Anthony Plula. Leading off and wearing 8, the center fielder, Senna Catterell. Batting second and wearing 38, the shortstop, Alexandre Fournier. Batting third, wearing 13, the third baseman, Zoe Hicks. Batting fourth, wearing 16, the DH, Allison Schroeder. Wearing 25, the second baseman, Elodie Bedard. The right fielder, Justin Marin. Batting 8, and wearing 14, the catcher, Caitlin Ross. Batting 9th, Julie Kondeshoffer. With the rest of Team Canada, please join their starting 9. I'd like to introduce to you the manager and the rest of his coaching staff for Hong Kong, China, Wing Lu U. Leading off, number 4, the center fielder, Wing Hin, that's Wing Hin U. Batting second, and wearing 1, the second baseman, Vivian Chang. Batting third and wearing 36, the first baseman, Vanessa Moy. Batting fourth and wearing 62, the DH, Janice Lau. Batting fifth and wearing 2, the catcher, G.R. Loy. Batting sixth and wearing 11, the shortstop, Ian Sum Kwong. Batting seventh and wearing 25, the third baseman, Hugh Tun Avis Wong. Batting 8th and wearing 44, the left fielder, Man Hoi Kwan. Batting 9th and wearing 20, the right fielder, Hoi K. Chan. And the starting pitcher for Hong Kong, number 34, Mok Debbie Su Yi. For the rest of the team, please join your starting 9. And the umpires taking care of tonight's game here at Baseball Central. From Chinese Taipei, Hu Chun Lee.
Yep.
At first base from Puerto Rico, Magali. And the umpires taking care of tonight's game here at Baseball Central. From Chinese Taipei, Hu Chun Lee.
Yep.
At first base from Puerto Rico, Magali Baez.
Is that okay there?
And at third base from Cuba, Yana Moreno.
Other Cubans in the other group.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time of the night, I'd like to ask you to please rise if you can for the playing of the national anthems of Canada and of Hong Kong, China.
Good evening and welcome back to Baseball Central here in Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada for game number 6 in Group A at the WBSC Women's Baseball World Cup. We played 3 yesterday, 2 so far today, and this will be the 3rd and final game from Baseball Central today and at the tournament as we shift things over to Port Arthur Stadium tomorrow. And the home team, the host nation, the Canada national team, also the highest ranked team in Group A, taking on Hong Kong, China tonight. Though they are the host nation, they are not the home team. And so we look at Canada's lineup first with Senna Catterall, the center fielder, leading off. Alex Fournier, the shortstop, batting second. And Zoe Hicks at third base, batting third. If anybody reaches here in the first inning, we'll see Allison Schroeder. Schroeder, the DH. She is really an all-around great talent for Canada. Pitched last night, DH today. Fournier, the second Fournier, Stacey's at first base batting 5th. Ella Day Bedard, second baseman, will bat 6th. Justine Marin, the right fielder, bats 7th. Caitlin Ross, the catcher, 8th. And Tess Sawkins is the left fielder, batting 9th. We'll have a ceremonial first pitch before Mak Debbie Su Yi gets loose on the mound for Hong Kong, China. And I think Patty's gotten herself in place. We got a southpaw, and she hops it in. Just a little short, but otherwise a good first pitch to get the festivities started tonight. And now one of the Thunder Bay City Councilors out there and a big supporter of baseball. A couple of strikes on the bounce. That's what we're looking for from our first pitches tonight. And a great way under beautiful sunshiny skies to get this night game started. Looking at the defense for Hong Kong, China, a lot of their success will depend on how the defense responds. Kwan Man Hoi, the left fielder, Ing Wing Hin in center, Chan Hoi Zi is in right. And Louis Chiar doing the catching. Seeing this team a couple months ago in Hong Kong for the Asian Cup, Louis catching really impressed. Vivian Chung's at second. Wang Hu Tong Avis is at third. Mui Wing Ki at first. And Kwang Yin Sum getting the start at short. Tough assignment for the right-hander, Mak Debbie Su Yi. Just about ready to go against this Canada lineup. That Hong Kong team finished 4th at the final qualification event for this World Cup. But that was good enough. Top 4 teams advanced. Top 2 teams from that tournament, Japan and Chinese Taipei, competing in Group B. They didn't have to travel as far. They get to go to Japan in September, about a month from now, for the Group B portion of this tournament. And 3rd and 4th place finishers, Korea and Hong Kong, here in Canada. Hong Kong beat Korea in a thriller yesterday. And we'll see if they can back it up with a tough test against the top-ranked nation at this tournament. Ball 1 to get us started to Catterall. I'm so happy to have you along here. Thanks for finding us on GameTime.sport. A really unique event. It's in the past been an event taking place every 2 years, but 5 years between WBSC Women's Baseball World Cups, and I'm sure many of you were waiting and waiting and waiting for another one, and we're so pleased to finally have another Women's World Cup. Debbie Mock's pitch inside, and it's a 4-pitch free pass to get the ball game started. This Hong Kong China team did not quit. Last night they found themselves trailing in the late innings and wound up scoring 4 late runs, erasing a 7-5 deficit, carrying a 9-7 lead into the 7th, bottom of the 7th. Korea pushed 1 across, but game ended with the tying run and the go-ahead run, both in scoring position. Would have been the game-winning run. So congratulations again to Hong Kong China for that big win last night against a team it had lost to twice just a couple of months ago, and a team they'd lost to twice by combined 22 runs. So it was a big improvement. And now it's Fournier. Still waiting to see the first strike. Got 6 straight out of the zone to get this outing started. That's what I recall from Hong Kong a couple of months ago, is that pitching depth was one of the real question marks for this Hong Kong-China team. There's a strike, a ground ball up the middle, and a base hit for Fournier. First two have reached base safely, a 4-pitch walk and a base knock. Now we'll see Zoe Hicks. I think if you're a batter in this top half of the first inning for Canada, you really do want to wait and see a strike before you take any cuts. No reason to make it any harder than it has to be. But there's 2 straight strikes to start it, and you could tell that Hicks knew that call was coming. Hicks, one of the real leaders on the team, real spark plug player. Sort of the scouting report I was given is that she talks an awful lot, but she backs it up. And it's not talk as in trash talking the opponent. It's talk to fire up her teammates. Lines one into right field here, and that'll open the scoring. RBI single scores Catterall from second. 1-0 Canada with nobody out and runners on the corners here in the first. Nice smooth 2-strike swing. Now Schroeder, who I think has been getting the face of the franchise treatment leading into this World Cup and through the first couple days of it. There'll be a throw down to second here that's cut off. The throw back home, and that's great work by the Hong Kong-China infield. 6-4-2, or rather 2-4-2. They get the out at the plate. It's almost like they baited Canada right into that one. Now Schroeder with a high fly ball to center field. And in the span of 2 pitches, goes from what looked like it could be a huge inning for Canada to 2 outs and just 1 runner aboard. Debbie Mack doing a good job backing up there. Otherwise, that's another run for Canada, but the pitcher kept it from getting towards the dugout. So the caught stealing at the plate. Fournier caught on the back end of the double steal. Fly out for Schroeder. And here's Stacy Fournier. No relation to Alex Fournier, who batted earlier. One from Quebec. That's Alex. Stacy from BC, British Columbia. 0-1 pitch, dives down low. 1 ball, 1 strike. High and outside, and I love the way that Mack has really found herself in this inning. Came out, even during warm-ups, she was really wild. That translated into the first 6 pitches missing the zone, but then was able to flip a switch. Throwing a lot more strikes. Just missing inside there. Pretty close one, just missed inside. Three-one on its way. That's ball 4. Second free pass. Brings us to Ella Day Bedard.
Second baseman, Ella Day Bedard.
Bedard from Gatineau, Quebec. Quebec, the province that actually leads this team in terms of the makeup. 7 players hail from Quebec. It's also the province that just won the Canadian National Championship in Halifax about a week ago. British Columbia is next. 5 players from BC, couple from Ontario, couple from Alberta. 1 each from Nova Scotia, Saskatchewan, Newfoundland, and 1 other. I'll get there. Oh, Manitoba. Zoe Hicks, the Manitoban. Just as we were and 1 other. I'll get there. Oh, Manitoba. Zoe Hicks, the Manitoban. Just as we were talking about Debbie Mack finding the strike zone, she's all of a sudden thrown 7 of her last 8 for balls. And make it 8 of the last 9. Back-to-back walks with 2 outs after she got Schroeder to fly out to center. Tell you what, if Canada walks out of this top of the first with just 1 run, that would have to feel like a pretty big disappointment. You never want to run into that out at home plate. Justine Marin takes high. I think this would have to be the biggest size disparity when you're talking about the 2 nations playing one another. Wonder how many Hong Kongs you could fit in Canada. Might number in the thousands. 2-0. That's going to be high for ball 3. Debbie Mack's going to have to find it soon. There is a right-hander in Hong Kong, China's bullpen. 3-0 pitch. At the letters for a strike. And another good pitch for strike 2. Nice cut from Marin. In right field for tonight's game is Marin, but she also pitches and can catch. And a good eye on the 3-2 as she walks to force in a run. Hicks across to score, make it 2-0 Canada. And now Caitlin Ross making her first appearance of the tournament. Has been dealing with a little bit of a lower body injury issue, but well enough to get in there, test it out tonight. Swings at the first one, pops it up, slicing, foul. And slicing out of play, popped off the top of that tube on the fence. Ross from Red Cliff, Alberta. Catcher and also a hockey goalie. There's a lot of crossover talent on this team, a lot of multi-sport athletes. And I don't think anybody should be surprised that there's a lot of overlap between baseball and hockey on this Canada team, nor that a catcher would also be a goaltender. Just a natural fit. Good pitch, 2-2. And I'll repeat what I said a minute ago. If Canada gets out of this inning having only scored 2, I think that would still feel like a disappointment. You have 6 different base runners. Now 2-2 pitch. Ross takes it high and wide. I don't think they're going up there looking for the walk, but it's hard when you've seen so many out of the zone to be ready when you do get that strike. Payoff with the runners in motion. Ross pops it up, shallow right. This could be trouble, but no, a good jump and a catch. For the out that ends the inning, Chan puts it away, and a pretty decent result from the Hong Kong perspective. They leave them loaded, and we'll head up to bat in the bottom of the first, trailing Canada 2-0 here in Thunder Bay.
For Canada in the top half of the first inning, they got 2 runs on 2 hits. There were no errors. 3 were left on base. For Canada, this is how they set up defensively here at Baseball Central tonight. In right field will be Justin Marin. In center field is Senna Catterell. In left field is Tess Sawkins. And at third base is Zoe Hicks. Playing shortstop is Adam Zan.
Heading into the bottom half of the first inning, 2-0 Canada. A look at the lineup for Hong Kong, China. Ing Wing Hin, the center fielder, leads off. Vivian Chung bats next. Mui Wing Ki, the first baseman, comes up third. Janice Lau, the DH, in the cleanup spot. The catcher, Louis Chiar, bats fifth. Kwang Yin Sum at short, bats sixth. Ahead of Avis Wong, Kwan Man Hoi, and Chen Hoi Kei. That's the lineup for Hong Kong, China. Team that scored 9 runs on 9 hits yesterday. The defense for Canada, Ross behind the dish, Hicks, Fournier, Day Bedard, and Stacy Fournier left to right, third to first around the infield. And it's Tess Sawkins, Senna Catterall, and Justine Marin left to right in the outfield. All that behind Julia Koningschoffer. Koningschoffer goes high. 1 ball, 1 strike on Ing Wing Hin. She was locked in as the everyday center fielder for the Hong Kong China team at the Asian Women's Baseball Cup. It was really interesting to see how her defense got better every day of that tournament. It was a long tournament, about 2 weeks long, and look at this, leads off, sitting it the other way. That's extra bases. She'll stop at second, a leadoff double. Ing Wing Hin gets him excited in that first base side dugout. Brings a tying run to the plate here. Nobody out in the bottom half of the first. Her game, I didn't get a chance to talk about the rest of her game. Her defense got better day by day, and really her entire game did. And since that tournament ended, it was the 2nd of June when that tournament came to an end, and the roster for this event took shape as Ross has it squirt off her glove. Pass ball gets Ing to third. But there's been some pretty intensive training to the tune of 8 practices a week, I was told. Big cut there with the runner on third, 1-1 now. Soft little lob to short. First out of the inning.
First baseman, Inessa.
Good hard fastball there for a strike. Mui Wing Ki, the first baseman for Hong Kong, China. A closed stance, and now a ground ball. That was not the best base running there from third. Ing Wing Hin could have scored if she'd been off on contact. That's a real break for Canada As Fournier didn't have to think about, am I going to go home, am I going to go over to first? I think she would have gone to first no matter what. I guess the ball was right in front of the line of the base runner, so she took a read, took a look, decided to stay home. But Hong Kong may have just left a run on third base, one that was basically being conceded by Canada. Now Janice Lau, the DH, has to come up with a 2-out RBI, chases a pitch down in the dirt there, falls behind 0-2. Those are the little things that you start to, as you play these international competitions, pick up on as a player. Now she's off on contact, but it's going to be a foot race to first, won by Stacy Fournier. It keeps that run off the board. Good recovery by Conning Schaffer after giving up the leadoff double. A line out and 2 ground outs to strand the run at third base. We'll go to the second. The score, Canada 2, Hong Kong, China nothing here on night 2 of the WBSC Women's Baseball World Cup.
Hong Kong, China. Bottom half of the first, there were no runs, 1 hit, there was no errors. 1 was left on base. After 1 is Canada 2 and Hong Kong, China nothing. And our 50-50 draw is working out there in the Habitat for Humanity booth. You can get yourself your ticket there. The draw will be held at the top of the 5th inning. So increase the pot and increase your winnings by buying a ticket. Also, last night's draw was rained out, so they're having that early tonight, and they're going to be bringing up the ticket. So if you got a ticket, then you got a chance at winning.
We don't have another third coming, do we? I see clouds in the distance.
For Canada, to lead off the top of the second, it would be their 9th batter doing that. Wearing 17, the left fielder, Tess Sawkins.
Tess Sawkins, 9th in the order, the only batter to not yet face Debbie Mack for Canada. It's ahead, 1 ball and no strikes. Patience the word for this Canada national team, facing a pitcher who walked 4 in the first inning. Skips it in for ball 2. Sawkins from Victoria, British Columbia. That's a town you can really associate with baseball. Ground ball here, a few hops to second. And the routine play made by Vivian Chung. Like what I'm seeing from this Hong Kong team at the tournament. I didn't catch every inning of their win against Korea yesterday, but they are definitely an improved group from the team that finished in 4th at the event they hosted in May and June. And that 2 months of intensive training clearly done great things for this group. You can see the confidence even on routine plays that weren't necessarily routine a few months ago. Now a pitch taken high. And again, Debbie Mack not making it easy on herself. She's pitching from behind all the time. But somehow has kind of made it work. Only giving up the 2 runs so far despite all the traffic on the base paths. In danger of walking Senecatterall here, though. Does its job. Catterall, another one of the players who's also a really solid hockey player. Played Division I at Clarkson. He takes a walk here. Second one in as many innings. Came around to score the first run. Driven in by a Zoe Hicks single. Here's Alexandre Fournier. Runner goes, pitch lifted in the air, shallow center, and that's going to fall. Throw goes towards third and put him on the corners. It's like a replay of the first inning, a Catterall walk, a Fournier single to put runners on the corners, and that brings up Hicks, who delivered a hit to plate Catterall just an inning ago. This top three, Catterall, Fournier, and Hicks, they're all two-sport athletes. Catterall, baseball and hockey. Fournier plays flag football at a very high level, which is not something you hear of every day. That's the runner on first now, who's gone 2 for 2 in the first 2 innings. And then Zoe Hicks, who's coming to bat here. Hicks part of the women's national softball team, but really does love the game of baseball. She's worked for the Dodgers in the analytics department. I mean, that's a bat and ball sport aficionado. National softball team, national baseball team, has worked for a major league team. And I really would love to have a microphone to be a part of this conversation. You've got our umpire from Chinese Taipei serving as the interpreter, with 2 Spanish-speaking umpires out there as well. I really do wonder the topic of conversation. This has gone on much longer than I would have expected, and then much longer than you would normally see. But everybody's apparently gotten on the same page. And we're going to get back to action here. Our home plate umpire is Lupo Chun from Chinese Taipei, with Magali Baez, the Puerto Rican umpire, at first base, and Janet Moreno from Cuba at third. Dug out of the backhand by Louis Chiar. (1-0) with the runner off. So that's where the path diverges here in the second inning from the one we were on in the first. With the first and third setup, Fournier on first, Catterall on third. Canada attempted a double steal, but Hong Kong, with some solid defense, able to snuff it out, get the out at home plate. Debbie Mack misses off the dish. So it's a 3-ball, no strike count. First base is open, but it doesn't get any easier with Schroeder on deck. 3-0 in there for a strike. Lights just now being switched on at Baseball Central. Being this far west in the Eastern time zone, you do get a lot more daylight, almost an hour and a half compared to if you're right on the East Coast. Now fly ball to center that should be deep enough to score the run. Throw will be cut off. There's no relay to the plate, and Canada with a 3-0 lead. Second time Hicks is driven in Catterall. Now it's Ali Schroeder.
84th, the designated hitter, number 16, Allison Schroeder.
High and wide, 1-0. Schroeder, the only member of this national team that did not participate in the Canadian National Championship Tournament. It was in Halifax at the end of July. Halifax and Nova Scotia, as Schroeder rips it over the fence but foul. The only reason that she didn't participate in nationals, it's a pretty good one. She was fighting forest fires. That's what she does for a living. She's a professional firefighter, and she goes wherever the wildfires are raging out west, Alberta, British Columbia. She's there. And she pops this one up in foul ground, and she'll get a second chance. She kind of slammed the bat on her way to first, frustrated, thinking maybe that was a pop out, but beyond the reach. Vavis Wong from third and Louis Chiar from behind the plate. So one ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and a lone base runner now. Fournier on second. Pitch on the way. Skips in. Like, this is how much time has passed since the last World Cup. She was 16 years old and kind of the young phenom of the team at the time. Known more for her pitching. We talked more about her pitching in Florida 5 years ago than we did her hitting. But her entire game is there. She's rounded it out. And is just a real leader, kind of face of the franchise like we mentioned in the first. And just a pure hitter, 3-2. Fouls it off. You saw her head was looking out over that left field wall. She unloaded on that. A little quick. Lucky really in the end to have gotten a piece to stay alive. Does Debbie Mack have another 3-2 pitch? Gets the ground ball, foul. If Schroeder's able to win this battle and get on base, we'd see Stacy Fournier. Last inning, Schroeder flew out to center field, a high fly ball. She's really got that uppercut swing going. Sends it foul again.
That's your 50-50 number from last night, so if you got your ticket handy, take a look at this. We've got, the number is 164199. So
Schroeder from Fruitvale, British Columbia. Turned 21 in April. Another 3-2 pitch, and it hits her. Debbie Mack really hung with her every step of the way, but ultimately Schroeder wins the battle. Third base runner for Canada this inning. And a mound visit for Hong Kong. If you make more than one mound visit in an inning, it requires you, the tournament rules require you to make a pitching change. So this is visit number 1. The next time you'd have to make a move. There's also a 30-second clock that starts running as soon as the coach leaves the dugout. And he just was issued a warning for staying out there beyond the 30-second clock. You do get a warning the first time. If a coach were to go out there and exceed the 30-second limit again, I believe it would result in a ball being called. But we did just see the warning. Just took a bit too long out there. 30 seconds doesn't give you much time, especially when you consider the clock starts as soon as you leave the dugout. So you really have more like 20 seconds to talk to your pitcher. 1-0 pitch here is high, ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes. Debbie Mack battling. Glance back at second. And another pitch out of the zone, that one missing high. speaking of clocks, pitchers are not on the clock when there are runners on base as we get another base on balls. It's a 20-second clock when the bases are empty, so as soon as the pitcher's on the mound, good pitch there, strike one. And it's funny, you know, the difference between Debbie Mack's sharp, crisp pitches and the ones that miss the zone is really stark. It's just something you work on with a young pitcher. You get him to repeat that delivery over and over. And there's strike two. When she's in, she's in. Can she put away Ella De Bedard? I don't think that we had seen an 0-2 count prior to that one. Bedard, the good eye, although nothing tempting about either of those two strike pitches, both in the same place, bouncing in the left-handed batter's box. Sacks juice. That's how Canada left him in the first inning. Close pitch. Ball three. I don't know if they're just a little hesitant to take a cut, these Canada hitters. They've let a lot of close pitches go by. I'm going to go ahead and give them credit for just having a really keen eye. Now the runners move. The 3-2. Hits her. So with two outs, we've seen a hit by pitch, a walk, and another hit by pitch. And that's kind of what separates some of the best teams in the world and the teams that aren't quite there yet. The ability to get out of innings, not to let things snowball and get out of hand. And Debbie Mack being taken out of the game here. With the bases still loaded. So we will step away and tell you about the new pitcher in just a moment. Canada with a 4-0 lead.
Now pitching for Hong Kong, China. Number 27, Shilin Choi.
Just wondering do we take down the cameras after the game, or what happens? Okay, just let's uncheck it now. If I can, yeah. That'd be a thing.
Choi Shi-in, the new pitcher for Hong Kong, China, and I'm so glad that she's a part of this Women's Baseball World Cup, one of the really exciting young players on the Hong Kong, China team. She's 16 years old, and her first pitch on the world stage, at least the World Cup stage, a strike to Justine Marin, the right fielder, who walked with the bases loaded last inning. Of the 4 Canada runs, well, let's say of the 5 Canada runs, as the wild pitch plates another, only one has been the result of a hit. Zoe Hicks delivering the RBI single to open the scoring last inning. Since then, we've seen a bases loaded walk, a sacrifice fly, a bases loaded hit by pitch, and now the wild pitch. That was Schroeder scampering down the third base line. Fournier, the new lead runner, and a 2-1 count to Marin, who was, again, the one to draw the bases-loaded walk last inning. Pop fly. And it looks like Choi Shi-in made the pitch she had to, but it's dropped. And that will score 2 more. Simply cannot afford to make those mistakes at this level of this tournament if you're hoping to advance to next year's final stage of this World Cup. A costly error. Some breathing room for Canada now. The lead goes up to 7. No RBIs for Marin. And now of the 7 runs, only 1 the result of a hit. Canada with just 3 hits total. In this inning in which they've sent 9 players to bat, Alex Fournier has the only hit. It was a base knock. She was the 3rd batter up as Ross takes the strike. Choi with kind of a quick pitch there. Not her typical delivery. 2 balls, 1 strike. There were some questions in June about whether or not she'd be able to participate in this tournament because it falls in the school year in Hong Kong, but very happy to see that she was given permission by all those who make those decisions to come be a part of this special event. Now 2-2 with 2 outs. The pitch to Ross. Breaking ball lifted in the air, center field. Ing-Wing Hin with the catch. And that will retire the side. 5 runs on just a hit with 1 left. We will go to the bottom of the 2nd. Hong Kong in a 7-run hole trails Canada 7-0.
Canada, top of the 2nd, to get 5 runs on 1 hit. There was 1 error. 1 was left on base. China, bottom of the 2nd, Lee Picard will be their 5th batter. Wearing 2, the catcher, Chiar Lloyd.
Hong Kong, China came from behind yesterday. They were never in a hole quite this deep, down by 7 against world number 3, Canada. Eight of the 9 hitters in Canada's lineup have come up twice. We've seen just 4 Hong Kong hitters, period. So we start in the 5 slot. The catcher, Louis Chiar, swings at the 0-1, pops it high in the air. Ross, a good job staying with it through the breeze. Not quite the gusty breeze we had this morning into this afternoon. It's died down considerably. That was still not the easiest play behind the plate. One well made for the first out. Wonder what the plan is for Connie Schoffer today. Pop up to 3rd, and if you're making 3 pitches, getting 2 outs, you're probably going to last a while. There's a chance that this game doesn't go the full 7 innings that we typically play. Should Canada build a 10-run lead through 5, that would be a complete game. Would have to play both top and bottom halves of the inning, Hong Kong, China being the home team. Avis Wong, the third baseman. Swings right through it. Her feet came unglued. Good pop on the pitch from Koningshofer. Who is not yet 18, will be in October. From Waverly, Nova Scotia. Her 2-1 here. Down and in. Significant turnover in this Canada roster from the team that won bronze in Vieira, Florida 5 years ago. And this will be a tricky play from third. On 2 soft hops, though, no trouble in the end for Hicks. And side retired in order by Koningshofer, who surrendered a leadoff double in the first and has since sat down 6 straight. 7-0 Canada. After 2 complete, we'll see you for the third from Thunder Bay in just a moment.
Hong Kong, China in the bottom of the second, no runs, no hits, or no errors. Nobody was left on base. After 2, it's Canada 7 and Hong Kong, China nothing. For Canada, bottom of the order, the 9th batter will lead things off. Wearing 17, the left fielder, Tess Sawkins.
Tess Sawkins leads off an inning for the second time tonight. In fact, the second consecutive innings that we see Sawkins, the left fielder, leading off. Left-handed hitter, gets her first look at Choi Shi-in. Takes a pitch out of the zone for ball 1. Canada with 2 in the first, 5 in the second. Hong Kong has not been really helping themselves out. Chance to get out of the second inning, having surrendered just 3. But a drop pop fly on the right side of the infield let those last 2 come across for Canada. Three balls, no strikes to count, and see a couple bodies headed out towards the right field bullpen. That's the Hong Kong China bullpen. Strike over the outer half, 3-1. Really unusual stance. You see the open stance there to the extreme. Keeps that front foot nearly out of the batter's box before she closes it as she strides. Ground ball here to second. And how about that recovery for Choi Shi-in, the 16-year-old hurler? First 3 pitches of the inning, missing up, low, wide, and then found the strike zone. Gets Sawkins to ground out to second for the second time. So now here's Senna Catterall. 2 walks, 2 runs scored so far. Probably looking for something she can sink her teeth into, and not going to be that pitch. When you have an opponent with pitchers struggling to throw strikes, it's got to be a tough battle as a hitter because you're here on the world stage for 5 days. You want to rack up as many hits as possible. You want to make an impact. But it's important not to chase too many pitches out of the zone. And credit Canada for not doing that tonight. showing great patience in each of the first couple of innings. 6 walks taken by Canadian hitters already, not to mention the 2 hit by pitch. Ball 4. So Catterall will have to wait at least one more inning. A chance to put that thing in play. Now Fournier. If the pattern holds, it'd be a Catterall walk followed by a Fournier single. We saw that in the first inning. We saw it again in the second. And that Fournier single in each instance moved Catterall first to third. Fournier from St. Jean-sur-Richelieu, not far from Montreal in Quebec. A little bit out in front of that one. 1 ball, 1 strike. Talking about all the 2-sport athletes, and Fournier, the one plays flag football competitively. And that's the thing with so many of the women at this tournament. They excel in multiple sports actively, currently in many cases. And there's a poke. Hard line drive out to left field. Base hit. The pattern holds to some extent. Catterall walked, followed by a Fournier single, though it didn't send Catterall first to third, as it was hit on the left side. So here's Hicks. Women's national team for both baseball and softball. Bat and ball game guru. 1 out with 2 aboard. The first pitch to her is popped up. Louis Chiar overruns it by a step. Tried to make the last second adjustment. Had to lean back, almost fell back with the ball in her glove, but those are the missed opportunities for Hong Kong China that just start to really gnaw at you. If you're looking at how this game might have been, could still be, those are the little plays you just have to make to pull off an upset over a team like Canada. And Hong Kong China, no stranger to big upsets at the Women's World Cup, as we get a hot shot into left, station to station. Catterall holding at third. Hong Kong China at the time just going by Hong Kong pulled off arguably the biggest upset of the 2018 World Cup, beating Cuba. There were tears flowing on the field after that one. They were celebrating like they'd just won the championship, when really it was a win in their last game of the group stage that would wind up being their only victory of the tournament. But still a special moment. They've already had their victory in this tournament, and there's a ground ball. They get the out at third. The throw to first, safe. First baseman straddling the bag. Mui Wing Ki had the ball in her glove in time, but she had 1 foot in foul ground, the other foot on the fair side of the chalk, but neither were on the bag. And that slow developing play almost still got Hong Kong out of the inning. Another missed opportunity. Schroeder safe at first. Picks up an RBI. Catterall coming across to score. And wait a second, why do we have Fournier still on third? I think I'm not the only one wondering that. Avis Wong scooped up the ground ball, stepped on the third base bag. That much was never in doubt. But hey, gamesmanship points to Fournier. Staying out there as long as she could. Hicks, the lead runners, on second with Schroeder behind her. The lead up to 8 for Canada, and a big cut for Stacey Fournier. 1 strike the count. With a few years of seasoning, it'll be really interesting to see how the career develops for Choi Shi-in. Up there against one of the world's best squads. And she's holding her own. This is her first full inning. Should be out of it. The drop pop up behind home plate. The near double play. The first baseman's foot just not on the bag. Foul back. One ball, 2 strikes. 2 in the first, 5 in the second for Canada, 1 so far here in the third. A little bit high. Choi Shi-in pitched in 2 different games, got 1 start at the Women's Cup in Asia. That'll load him up.
Second baseman, Elodie Bedard.
That Women's Baseball Asian Cup, hosted by the Baseball Association of Hong Kong, China, did a top-notch job running a very involved event. Lasted more than 2 weeks in terms of how long all the teams were there, most of them anyway. A few teams went home after the preliminary round. 8 teams stuck around for the super round. Two-strike pitch is going to get out of play. Leads all around with the 2 strikes. And there's a poke into right field. The throw's going to go to first, and an accurate throw probably would have gotten the out. Instead, it gets by Mui Wing Ki and allows another run to score. So there's the 10 that Canada's looking for. Elodie Bedard, the RBI single, going the other way. And then the second run on the E9. Totally understand what Chen Hui was thinking of. Already playing a very shallow right field, hard hit ball right at her. Got the feet moving, got her body in a good position to come up gunning for first. Throw itself was the only part that didn't work out. Allows an extra base for everybody. Fournier on third, Elodie Bedard on second. And strike 1 called to Justine Marin, who's been on base twice so far without a hit. Pop-up should end the inning. There's the call and the catch. And we will head to the bottom of the third. Hong Kong, China trailing Canada 10-0 after 2.5 here at Baseball Central in Thunder Bay.
I thought I was starting to feel a couple of drops just now. And there's no starts raining.
For Canada, top of the third, they got 3 runs on 2 hits. There was 1 error, 2 left on base.
Okay. You know, for some reason, the Canadian third base coach looks a bit familiar to me. Like I've seen him sometimes. I think he used to play in the majors or something.
For Hong Kong, China, bottom of the third, it'll be their 8th batter lead tees off. Wearing 44, the left fielder, Man Hui Kwan.
8-9-1 for Hong Kong, China. Left fielder Kwan Man Hui leading off against Julia Conning-Schaffer. Conning-Schaffer is retired 6 in a row after giving up the leadoff opposite field double in the first. Something about that delivery just didn't look all right. She took the glove off and resets before coming home with the 2-1 that's lifted in the air, falling fast. The headlong dive. Tess Sawkins makes the catch. Great play in front of the Thunder Bay fans here. And that's 7 in a row for Conning-Schaffer. Once that cleared the infield, thought that was going to be a base hit for Kwan. But good hustle, a good jump, and a great dive from Sawkins. Take it away. Foul ball, strike 1. Shanhui, the right fielder. Takes one low, 1-1. Shanhui Key, the last member of the starting lineups to make her first plate appearance. Conning-Schaffer, a 3-1 count, in danger of giving up her first walk today. And she does. Chen wasn't sure. She knew that one was close. Took a step to first, paused, and then restarted. Takes her base and rolls it over to Ing-Wing Hin. All's quiet in Canada's bullpen. We're not thinking about making a move yet. First pitch to Ing, a strike. Her leadoff double in the bottom of the first inning. Line drive that almost touched the right field line. Took a hop on the fair side of it. Wound up being fielded in foul ground by Justine Marin. This one grounded to short. Softly hit. Probably not enough time to turn 2. And in fact, not enough time to get anybody. A little bit of a bobble by Fournier. It'll be interesting to see whether that goes as a hit or an error. Goes as an error. Probably would have been a hit in Major League Baseball this year. Been a lot of talk about how hard it is to get charged with an error in the big leagues. Saw a play just this afternoon that I am still in disbelief of that was not called an error. Ground ball right at Brewers second baseman Bryce Turang, who I actually got to see play here in Thunder Bay 6 years ago as a part of the U18 team for the United States that went undefeated and took home the gold medals and the title of world champion. Turang, here we are 6 years later, he's in the big leagues for the Brewers and booting a routine ground ball that somehow was scored as a hit. Didn't even occur to me at the time when I was watching that here we are 6 years later, and I'm back in Thunder Bay where I got to see his electric brand of baseball for the first time. That's what a great international host city Thunder Bay is. Multiple U18 World Championships, Women's World Cup this summer, Women's World Cup next summer, the Friendship Series between the United States and Canada here in Thunder Bay last year. A fun 5-game series that saw the Americans take 3 out of 5 on Canadian soil. Those two will play tomorrow night, Canada and the U.S., under the lights at Port Arthur Stadium. Right now we're seeing world number 3, Canada, and world number 11, Hong Kong, China. Hong Kong with a threat here, bases loaded, only 1 out. Walk, error, walk. And now a wild one will get Hong Kong on the board, and maybe more. The throw towards the plate got past Koningshofer. But no further advance on the base paths. Time for Canada to tighten things up here. Two-one. Fouled out of play, 2-2. Now 2-2. And they're starting to move down in that Canada pen. Julia Koningshofer's 3-2 pitch. Soft roller, first base. Scooped up by Stacy Fournier. Run comes in as they get the force out at first. Give an RBI to Mui Wing Ki. And let's make it a 10-2 ball game here in the third. Now Janice Lau, the designated hitter, first pitch swinging, pops it foul, backing out of play. Ten runs, 6 hits, and an error for Canada so far. 2 runs, 1 hit, 2 errors for Hong Kong, China. Koningshofer just missing there. And the way this inning is unfolded, I wouldn't be shocked if it winds up being Koningshofer's last. Again, just 17. You're going to want to use this arm later in the tournament. And the lack of command will make the decision perhaps a little bit easier if they have to make a move. That's a walk to put him on first and third walk of the inning. It's a different Julia Koningshofer here in the third than the one we saw in innings 1 and 2.
Catcher, G.R. Lloyd.
Chris Begg, the pitching coach, out for the first mound visit. Anthony Pluta at the helm of this Canada squad, his first year as manager. And I think that just was the warning for Canada that mound meeting ran a little bit long. Hong Kong, China already has been warned that any subsequent mound meetings that go beyond the allowable 30 seconds will result in a ball being called. That conversation was really just all about getting Koningshofer right to get one more out, get her out of this third inning. Looks like she's maybe overthrowing a little. That pitch hot and wide, and then you saw her shaking out that right arm, just trying to get it to work for her here, get this last out, get us to the fourth inning. But she's all over the place right now, having trouble with any consistency. And a sense of urgency starting to make its way into Canada's bullpen, where Amy Johnson is warming up. Johnson, the lone representative of Saskatchewan. 2-1 here, ground ball into left field. That's an RBI hit. And how about the answer from Hong Kong? Canada with 3 in the top of the third. Hong Kong, China, 3 of their own in the bottom half of this third inning. It's a 10-3 game. The catcher, Louis Chiar, one of the best all-around players on this Hong Kong team. Really, really solid defender. And you see he comes up with the timely hit there. Now ground ball, right side. Nice pickup. Elade Bedard on to first for the out that ends the inning, but a big one it is for Hong Kong. Hong Kong, China with 3. On a hit, they leave 2, and we will go to the 4th inning with the score Canada 10, Hong Kong, China 3.
Hong Kong, China in the bottom of the third. They get 3 runs on 1 hit. There was 1 error. 2 were left on base. After 3, it's Canada 10, Hong Kong, China 3. Keep up to date with WBSC Women's Baseball World Cup online at www.wbsc.org. There you can follow the game stats as games are in progress, the standings, the tournament schedule, and get the latest news from www.wbsc.org. Be sure to tag us on social media using our official hashtag, #BaseballWorldCupW, and share your experience. Batting the catcher, Caitlin Ross.
Caitlin Ross, Canada's catcher, leading off. She has the dubious honor of being one of 2 Canadian hitters not to have reached base safely. Both Ross and Sawkins have gone 0 for 2 through the first 3 innings. Sawkins on deck. Ross has flown out to right, flown out to center. And ahead 1-0 here. Getting her second look at Choi Shi-in. Fires a strike to even it up, 1-1. One of the most promising young arms in her country. Good job by Ross, sitting back, waiting for that one, and depositing it into left field in front of Kwan Man Hoi. So there's her first knock, and now it's just Tess Sawkins who's got to reach base to make it 9 out of 9 for Canada.
Left fielder, number 17, Tess Sawkins.
Sawkins, who's considered to be the best defensive outfielder on this team. And she's also the only left-handed pitcher this team has. You see her up there batting left-handed. So if there is a hole in the highest-ranked nation at this tournament, could be that they have just the one lefty. Kind of a untested lefty at that. Sawkins is just 18 until November, so doesn't have a lot of big game experience yet, being just 13 the last time there was a World Cup. 1-1. You're not going to get a lot of emotion out of Choi Shi-in talking about young arms, the Hong Kong China pitcher. Just does not ever break the mold. She's got this really stone-faced characteristic about her. Not giving you any body language to read. Long hold before the 2-1. That one's high. The action has ceased in Canada's bullpen. Whether that means Johnson is ready and going to come in, or whether it means Koningshofer having gotten out of that jam with relatively limited damage is going to get back in the game when we get to the fourth inning. We'll find out soon. But right-handed action continues in the Hong Kong China bullpen as Choi walks Sawkins. And so you can no longer say that anybody in Canada's lineup hasn't reached base. Ross on second, Sawkins on first. And Catterall batting for the fourth time in as many innings. We'll get a mound visit here that I do not believe is going to lead to a pitching change. There's I thought it was going to be a sunglasses delivery from Avis Wong, the third baseman, to the dugout, but in fact it's the dugout giving Avis Wong some shades to put on here so she can battle that sunset, which the third baseman really does look into at Baseball Central here in Thunder Bay. It's actually not going to be the fourth plate appearance in as many innings for Catterall. Canada goes to the bench here in the top of the fourth. Pop foul back out of play. Rain Padgham from Abbotsford, British Columbia. Waits for the 0-1 and takes it outside. Hong Kong China only had to use 3 pitchers in yesterday's win over Korea. We get a high fly ball out to left field off the bat of Padgham. It becomes the first out of the inning. Nice job by Choi after the mound visit getting the out. Canada wants to get those 3 runs back, reclaim that 10-run advantage. Alex Fournier, 3 for 3. See what she can do about moving those runners along. Singles in each inning. She's been thrown out at the plate. She's been forced out at third. So she's only scored 1 run despite the 3 hits. And now she's got an RBI opportunity staring her in the face. Chance to push the lead back up to 9 if she gets a ball to the outfield. Ball getting away on a strike. Oh, 1 drops in. 0-2. Canada up to 7 hits in the game with the Ross base hit. 0-2 here, hammered foul past third. We'll do a second 0-2. And it's shot up the middle into center field. That will plate 1, and that will plate 2. Lead does go back up to 9. How about a 4-hit evening for Alex Fournier? Part of that Canadian national champion Quebec squad. Pretty nice night at the ballpark. 4th inning, you've got 4 hits, 2 RBIs, and a run scored. Been a perfect night for Zoe Hicks as well. Driven in 2, scored twice, a couple of hits. Hicks just a baller through and through. Another 0-2 count is Choi. She's wily. She finds a way to get that ball to work for her. All again while maintaining that highest level of poise on the hill. I mean, one of the real storylines around this Baseball Canada program is the emergence of the baseball culture in Quebec. I don't know that for a fact this is the first time that there have been more Quebecois on this team than any other province, but that's noteworthy. Ontario and British Columbia have long been known as the baseball hotbeds of Canada. I'm sure the folks in Quebec are offering a few things to say about that, but really, it is something to be awfully proud of. Winning the national championship, loading the national team roster with 7 of your players, 7 out of 20 hailing from Quebec. And there's an academy there that's really developing players well. A lot of these young players on the Canada team this year coming right out of that academy program. Three-two pitch. That'll be ball 4. Second walk of the inning. Remember, we've already had our mound visit, so any subsequent mound visits will result in a pitching change. And a pinch hitter. Emma Rose Payette. First pitch swinging, opposite field, popper down the line. It's fair. It's going to get to the wall by the pole. And Canada's lead is back up over 10. All it took was one pitch off the bench for Emma Rose Payette from Quebec City in Quebec to deliver a big hit for her team. 13-3 the score. So Allison Schroeder leaves the game without a hit. Did drive in one. You could almost call it an off night for Schroeder to have an offer. As the DH, she did pitch last night. Canada taking care of business despite a 90-minute rain delay right in the middle of their game with Mexico. Canada actually got better after the rain delay. Came out with, I think, a 6 spot first inning after the rain delay. That's when they broke it open. Went on to win comfortably. Payette on second, Hicks ahead of her on third. Pitch to Stacy Fournier. Called strike 2. Bouncer to first will bring home another run. So 4 go up in the top of the 4th for Canada, and they're not done yet. Payette at third, give Fournier the RBI. And here comes a pinch hitter. That's Emily Baxter in place of Ella Day Bedard. Third pinch hitter in the inning for this Canada national team. Up to 9 hits. And taken low, ball 1. Baxter takes it high and wide. Baxter from Oakville, Ontario. takes a strike. I think 5 years ago at the last Women's World Cup, the Canada team might have had the most senior squad in terms of the age of its players, their national team experience. It's really interesting to see a whole new look here, and a pop fly out to center field that's dropped would have ended the inning. Instead, put another one on the board for Canada. Let's make it 15-3. Baxter winds up on second on the E8. Second 5-run inning of the contest, and that's going to force a pitching change. Tough break for Choi Shi-in. Pitched well enough to get out of the inning, but she'll depart with 2 outs and 1 on. Her team trailing by 12.
The Hong Kong China now pitching. Number 56, Lock Woo Chen.
So Canada sent 8 batters up in the first, 9 in the second, 8 in the third, and Justine Marin becomes the 9th batter here in the 4th inning. As they just keep rolling through the lineup, a lineup that has seen some alterations here in the 4th inning, but hasn't slowed anything down. The lead up to its largest point of the night, up at 12. And a pitch taken outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Our home plate umpire, Lu Po Chun, held her fingers up in the air for quite a long time. The scoreboard out in right center had 2-0. She wanted to make sure everybody knew it was 1-1. Now it's 2-1. That last one bouncing off the plate. From the belt, here's the pitch. From Chan, it's high, ball 3. Chan Lak-o participated in the Women's Baseball Asian Cup in Hong Kong, China in May, but she didn't pitch. Only appeared as a position player. This one popped up, foul ground. And just beyond the charging third baseman, Avis Wong. So 3-2. What has Marin done tonight? She's walked with the bases loaded to plate a run in the first inning. Reached on an error and popped out to third, so she's been held hitless. And that's ball 4. Still hitless, but on base for the 3rd time. And this is a tough inning for Hong Kong China, seeing that they had the chances to get out, limit the damage, preserve some arms. But now you've got a player who doesn't often pitch out there pitching, and there's a little bit of a light rain starting to fall. You can hear the pitter-patter on the tent above us. You can't even pick it up in the shot. Hopefully that's all it is. It's crazy. There's blue skies overhead, but a very light rain is falling. Given all the rain we saw yesterday here at Baseball Central, that's not necessarily what anybody wants to hear. Line drive over the leaping third baseman Wong. Bases loaded again for Canada. That was Caitlin Ross with her second hit of the inning. And on we go. Now the 11th batter, Sawkins.
Sawkins.
I don't have a plastic for my camera.
In for a strike. You see the intensity of the rain's so light that the fans right there behind home plate aren't moving for cover or anything like that.
Where is it?
And there's a strike 2 pitch from Chen.
I'm gonna leave this for a bit.
Sawkins, 2 ground outs to second, a walk and a run scored. Can Chen find strike 3? Oh no, it's a ringing line drive into right field. That'll plate one more. Throw goes to first. Bases still loaded for Canada. Sawkins delivers her first hit of the night. Marin at third, Ross at second, Sawkins at first for Rain Padgham. Oh, 1. Right down the middle, nothing in 2. From the belt, here's the pitch. And it's popped up. The pop-ups have what given this Hong Kong China infield a lot of trouble tonight, but a good job there by Kwang Yun Sum to make the catch and avoid the collision with Janet Moreno, our third base side umpire. In the end, Canada adds 6, and the lead is 13 after 3.5. Canada 16, Hong Kong China 3.
The rain seems to be just fitting us bit by bit. But if Hong Kong doesn't score any runs in this inning, that may not matter.
Canada top of the fourth. They get 6 runs on 5 hits with 1 error. 2 were left on base.
What are the rules in terms of the mercy rule anyway?
But I think you should cover it with just in case.
What?
I think you should cover the camera just in case.
Where are the covers? Because
There's a cover, there's a plastic there.
there is.
No, it wasn't there. Like, I think it was just laying around there.
I don't see anything.
Remember when you got my bag? It was still there, right? Maybe the wind blew it or whatever. I don't know. I just hope it wasn't there.
Now pitching for Canada, number 2, Amy Johnson.
So we pick it up in the bottom of the 4th inning. Canada 16, Hong Kong China 3. And after a solid 3-inning start from Julia Conningshofer, it's Amy Johnson first out of the pen. And her first pitch missing just a bit outside and perhaps low. Johnson, the lone representative of Saskatchewan. Outer half for a strike. 8 of the 13 Canadian provinces represented at this Women's World Cup. Avis Wong Third baseman for Hong Kong taking it low. 2 balls, 1 strike. First appearance in a World Cup for Johnson. Not her first appearance in an international competition here in Thunder Bay. Part of the Canadian squad in last year's friendship series with the United States. And she blows it by Wong. Finds a little something extra there for the strikeout. And we go to the bench now for Hong Kong, China. Lung Hu Tung is going to be the pinch hitter in place of Kwan.
For Hong Kong, China, number 72, for Maya Anna Lung.
And Johnson's
For Maya Anna Lung.
Johnson's found something there, just that fastball outer half. Looks like it's going to give these hitters some trouble. Playing under the lights in Thunder Bay, though still plenty of daylight left. Lots of folks involved in putting on this tournament. Lots of thanks to pass around. Local organizing committee here in Thunder Bay doing a great job setting up 2 venues. Baseball Central for days 1 and 2, and then we move to Port Arthur Stadium for days 3, 4, and 5 beginning tomorrow. WBSC staff, as usual, putting together a great event. How about this stuff from Amy Johnson? Two quick strikeouts. And now we have Chan Hoi Kei. Sorry, a pinch hitter here. Yuan Chung Yan. Takes a look at a ball. Here's the set and the 1-0. And a wave and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike. If it sounds like I know what I'm talking about sometimes, that's where you want to thank everybody from the media team and the various media personnel from the national programs. Always fun to do a Canada game with Adam Morissette in the booth, passing along little tidbits about this Canada team, highest ranked team at this tournament. Thanks to Adam, as always, and the entire Baseball Canada staff. The 1-2 pitch fought off. Actually pretty nice swing there from Yuan Chung Yan to stay alive. It's really a big team effort, though, to put on an undertaking like this, these World Cups. 1-2. Johnson will not strike out the side, it'll appear. But she will mow him down. 1-2-3. Couple of strikeouts and a bouncer to second to send us to the 5th. This could be the last inning unless Hong Kong is able to cut the deficit under 10. 16-3 Canada. We'll take an extra long pause, let the ground crew do some work. They deserve an awful lot of thanks for what they've been doing, keeping Baseball Central fresh despite a couple of days of less than perfect weather. But here we go. Into our break. We'll be back in the 5th in just a few.
Also, I think this one's counting.
I don't know what happened to the bank that was at the stadium the other night. I had a different bag, I think. 'Cause
little bit of time, the Women's Baseball World Cup is going to be moving to the Port Arthur Stadium. That's starting tomorrow morning at 11:30 when Korea takes on Australia. Tomorrow at 3:30, Hong Kong, China is taking on Mexico. And tomorrow night at 7:30, the United States takes on Canada. So for the next 3 days, we're all at the Port Arthur Stadium for all these same times, 11:30, 3:30, and 7:30. So make it a date. We're going to be there. We got lots of baseball exciting action happening from the Women's Baseball World Cup 2023.
Some note I got smoked. I think it flew from the bug tower next to me. And it's on top of the dugout. So yeah. That's what's going on over here alongside.
For Canada, in the top of the fifth inning to lead things off. Will be their eighth batter. Wearing 14, the catcher, Caitlin Ross.
Oh, the race. Let's get ready to roll.
Correction on the batter, it's a shortstop, number 38, Alexandre Fournier.
So Alex Fournier will lead off, working on a perfect night. She's 4 for 4, 4 singles, 2 runs batted in, 2 runs scored. Chan Lok Oh got the last out of the top of the 4th inning. Will try and work her way through this 5th inning, keeping the deficit at 13. Zoe Hicks scheduled to bat next. Looks like she is out there in the on-deck circle. And then it'll be Emma Rose Payette. Came in as a pinch hitter in the 4th. 2 runs in the first, 5 in the second. As a shot goes into left field, make it a 5-hit night for Fournier. 5 singles in 5 innings. She has 5 of her team's 12 hits. Another perfect night here for Hicks. 2 hits, 3 runs scored, 3 walks. Or rather, 2 walks. Up high, 1 ball, no strikes. Bounces off the dish. 2 balls, no strikes. Back-to-back base knocks into left field. So you look at the 2-3 slots in the order, and they kind of present themselves as a microcosm of the whole game. Canada, a big, big lead. You've got Fournier 5 for 5. You've got Hicks 3 for 3. Combined 5 runs between the two of them. Combined 4 runs batted in. And a pitching change will be made. And we'll step away. Tell you about the new Hong Kong China pitcher in just a moment. Canada threatening, already ahead by 13. 2 on, nobody out.
What's the age of the youngest Hong Kong player? Yeah, I was
Now pitching for Hong Kong, China, Lucky Mitchell Lamb.
We pick it up with Emma Rose Payette. Drove in a run with a double as a pinch hitter. Actually drove the first pitch she saw last inning out into left field to drive in a run. Nobody out, 2 runners aboard. And a bounding ball foul first base side. The new pitcher for Hong Kong, China, Michelle Lamb. Michelle Lamb did pitch at the Women's Baseball Asian Cup, and a chance for a double play here. They get the out at second, but that will be all. They force out Hicks. Fournier gets herself over to third, and Payette safe on the fielder's choice. Now Stacy Fournier. Fournier from Surrey, British Columbia. Good work behind the plate by Louis Chiar. Really talented backstop for Hong Kong, China. One and one. Canada out-hitting Hong Kong, China 13-2 in this game. If you're Canada, I wonder what you think about the scheduling at this tournament. You get the most unknown quantity of the tournament night 1 in Mexico. Mexico, the only team of the 6 here in Group A this year that didn't participate in the World Cup 5 years ago. Weren't sure what we were going to get from that team. Canada locked in a pretty tight battle right up until that rain delay last night. Then they busted open. They go on to win big. Mexico, we should add, comes back and beats Australia today 16-8 in a crazy extra inning affair. Not often you have an extra inning affair wind up with an 8-run victory, but when you start extra innings with runners on first and second, really anything goes. And what happened in that game was really interesting today. They battled it out through the middle innings. Mexico pulled ahead, and I think it was the 4th. Carried an 8-5 lead into the 7th. Australia tied it up with 3 in the bottom of the 7th. But then when we got to the top of the 8th inning, runners on first and second, the leadoff batter for Mexico drops down a bunt, goes back to the pitcher's mound. And the pitcher had time to get the out at third. And apologies, I don't recall names at the moment, but the Australian pitcher scoops it up, goes to third, and airmails it, sends it into foul territory in left field. And that just set the tone for the entire extra inning. Mexico was able to grab the lead on the bunt that was only intended to move runners to second and third. They grabbed the lead. They wind up adding 7 more in the top of the 8th inning for a 16-8 lead. Australia did not score in their bottom half of the 8th inning. So the Australia women's team that came to this event expecting to be there, expecting to be in the top 3 and potentially with that top 3 finish earn a spot in next year's second half of the World Cup. Well, they're going to need to win all 3 remaining games and get some help too, most likely, if they're going to be a part of that group. But anyway, that story derailed me from the original point. As we have a bases loaded 3-1 pitch here that's called strike 2 to Emily Baxter, who pinch hit and popped it out to center field last inning. It was dropped, so she reached. But thinking about the Canada schedule, you beat Mexico, then you get this one against Hong Kong, China, which you come into looking for a big win, and so far, so good on that front. The 13-run lead, we could just be a half inning away from ending this. But this isn't an ideal tune-up for the biggest game on Canada's schedule, at least the one everybody would have circled coming into the tournament, the rematch of the bronze medal game of 5 years ago with the United States. That's tomorrow night, 7:30, Port Arthur Stadium.
It came close.
And we'll see how it goes. After that, Canada plays Korea on Friday night as we get a bases-loaded walk here to force in a run. And Canada closes the tournament with a game against Australia Saturday under the lights at Port Arthur Stadium. And that will no doubt be a must-win for Australia if they're to have any chance of finishing in the top 3 and earning a place in next year's Final 6 at this Women's World Cup. First pitch high to Justine Marin. Bases loaded, 1 out. Single, fielder's choice, and 2 walks. That's how this top of the 5th is unfolded to this point. Ball and a strike. Two and one. Spanked up the middle. That'll plate 1. I think if this were a tight game, you might have seen Fournier sent home, but she's held at third. Classy move by Anthony Pluta. No reason to force the issue, the lead being what it is. And the base runners keep coming, the hits keep coming. 14 hits for Canada. And number 14, Caitlin Ross, had 2 of those 14 hits just last inning. Seems to be feeling all right after sitting out last night. She puts it into right center field, and it's going to keep rolling. Cut off just before the wall. That scores 2 more. And Canada is up to 20 runs. Ross, had to be looking around the dugout after the 3rd inning, seeing all her teammates pile up hits, trips on base. She didn't have any. She was 0 for 2 after 3 innings, but all of a sudden she's 3 for 5. 3 runs batted in. Same can be said of Sawkins. She was like Ross, kept off the base paths through the first 3 innings and then reached twice last inning. A walk, a run scored, a hit, a run batted in. A 1-strike count. Michelle Lamb sits and delivers and brings it inside. 1-1 breaking ball wound up way inside. Three and one. Starting to hear it from the Hong Kong China dugout, trying to urge Lamb back into this inning because there's nobody warming up behind her. Payoff pitch. Ball 4. Sawkins and Ross on base 6 out of 6 times in innings 4 and 5. And Hong Kong China's got to find some outs.
Fielder, Wayne Hagan.
Rain Padgham's third plate appearance. Came up twice last inning. Flew out to left, popped out to short. Takes a close 0-1 pitch for a ball. Really didn't miss by much. Do like Lamb's composure on the mound. Pitchers today for Hong Kong China, in a word, might be stoic. Not an easy assignment, I should say. Going against one of the world's best. Got the strike call there, the high strike. The 2-2 is launched out to left field. That ball really blasted, and that's going to hit off the base of the wall. So Padgham has her first hit. Going to drive in a run. Going to drive in 2. 22-3. Just missed a home run.
The shortstop, Alexander Fournier.
Again, this is going to be Lamb's inning. There's nobody throwing in the Hong Kong China bullpen. Not a bad pitch, just outside for a ball. Of the 6 teams at this tournament, only the United States unbeaten at this point in time. Looks like Canada's a half inning away from joining them. That's what'll make tomorrow night's affair all that much more exciting, as a good lunging grab is made there in foul ground. Wasn't easy, but Fournier retired for the first time. Her perfect night comes to an end. She's 5 for 6 now. But you've got the U.S. 2-0, Canada about to be 2-0. I'm going to go ahead and pencil that in. That would drop Hong Kong China to 1-1. Mexico 1-1, Korea and Australia both 0-2. Probably the biggest surprise of the tournament to see Australia 0-2 after the first 2 days of competition. Couple of heartbreakers, too, and that seems like it's been the story of Australian baseball this summer. Tough showing at the U12 tournament in Taiwan just a few weeks ago. and then fall by 1 to the United States yesterday afternoon. That was a really well-played game on both sides. Australia just coming up short. And then today, they rally in the bottom of the 7th to force extra innings and then wind up giving 8 unanswered runs away in the top of the extra inning. Had to be a real deflating defeat. 2-1, meanwhile, the count on Hicks. Second straight inning in which Canada has scored 6. They could have scored 7, but twice they have shown a bit of mercy and left the runner on third on those wild pitches to the backstop. Again, tip of the cap to Anthony Pluta for managing this big lead in a respectful manner. 3-1 pitch. That's a strike. Love the approach from Hicks. Trying to work a walk. Here's the 3-2. And Hicks was ready for that one. Tugs it off the sidewall there. Another 3-2. And Hicks gets that free pass to load him up. Things starting to spiral now on Hong Kong, China. Back-to-back innings in which they've given up 6 runs. Back-to-back innings, Canada has sent 12 to bat. Payet grounded one to short earlier in this inning. Gave us the first out of the inning. Fielder's choice flipped to second. Thought it might have been a double play ball off the bat, but a little slow in developing. Payet up there to take her hacks. 0-2. Have not been paying attention to Canada's bullpen, but I assume we'll see Johnson back out there for the bottom half of this 5th inning. As sharp as she was in the 4th, it'd be awfully tough for Hong Kong China to get anything going. Mowed him down in order in the 4th, did Johnson. 1-2 here is high, and if you're Michelle Lamb, you got to just get that over. Get it close to the strike zone. Payet has shown a willingness to chase. Two ball, 2 strike pitch. Payet able to stay alive. You see that one fan right behind home plate has the umbrella up. I don't think it's raining anymore. Really lovely day here in Thunder Bay. Cut and a miss. Lamb pumps her fist, gets the strikeout, and leaves them loaded. But Canada does add 6 more to a lead that's extended to 19. 22-3 our score. And Canada 3 outs away from victory on the other side.
I honestly don't know what to make of all this. If you thought the last quarter chance weekend was weird, then there's this.
Canada, top of the 5th inning. They got 6 runs, 5 hits with no errors, 3 were left on base.
Johnson locked into the first base side of the rubber. Kicks and fires, gets the bottom of the fifth underway with a strike. Pinch hitter for Hong Kong here. Wai Tzu-yan takes it low. Batting in place of Ng Wing Hin, the center fielder, who actually reached base both times she came up. Doubled in the first. Led off the home half of the first inning with a double, as a matter of fact. Reached on an error in the third. Each of those plate appearances for Ng came against the starter Conningshofer, who only went 3 innings and definitely seemed to be fading towards the end of her outing. At one point, she rattled off 7 straight. Good 2-strike approach, meanwhile, from Y. Making it difficult for Amy Johnson to get this first out of the bottom of the 5th. Johnson struck out the first 2 she faced in the 4th before a soft grounder made it a 1-2-3 inning. There's the high heater, and Y couldn't lay off. Strikeout number 3 for Amy Johnson. Back to the bench for Hong Kong China, Hong Yik Shan, the hitter here. A regular part of the starting lineup at the Women's Baseball Asian Cup. Finished that tournament with a .333 average, 3 runs batted in. Coming off the bench here tonight, and she's quickly down 0-2. And a wave and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts. That's 4 for Amy Johnson. 1 out away from sealing the victory. Sorry. I had that wrong. I thought that was strike 3. That is. And there's 2 outs. And gets us to Mui Wing Ki, the first baseman, who's grounded out to short and grounded out to first in her 2 trips. Love the consistency you get from Johnson. Great mechanics on the mound. Just throwing darts to Caitlin Ross. Here's the set and the 0-2. Popped up, foul territory, and out of play. Another 0-2 pitch. Low and away. Swinging a foul. That's the last thing Caitlin Ross needed. Foul ball off her left foot. Already nursing a bit of a lower body issue. She's got a big smile. I mean, what can you do but laugh at this stage? You got the 19-run lead. Your opponent's down to their last strike, and pretty solid foul ball contact off the left foot. But she's back down there trying to get this game in the win column for Canada, but not yet. Pesky 2-strike at bat here for Mui Wing Ki. And you can see Ross still trying to shake it off, move that left leg around, get this game over with so she can get some ice on it.
I'll put it on wide.
Another 1-2 from Amy Johnson. And it's the breaking ball that gets a swing and a miss for strike 3. She strikes out the side in order to put an exclamation point on the 19-run win for Canada. They have started this tournament 2-0, a 22-3 victory over Hong Kong, China. That knocks Hong Kong back to earth at 1-1. And we have some clearly defined standings after the first 2 days of this 5-day Group A portion of the tournament. Canada and the United States, the two unbeatens, they will meet tomorrow night. There will be just one unbeaten team when we wake up on Friday morning. Mexico and Hong Kong, China, locked in the middle of the pack at 1-1 with Korea and Australia, each still looking for their first win at this 2023 WBSC Women's Baseball World Cup. Certainly appreciate everybody tuning in all day and everybody for putting it on in the truck and around the ballpark, and Tony for taking you through the afternoon. But it's been a fun one, and we'll do it again tomorrow from a new venue. We'll be at Port Arthur Stadium starting at 11:30 with tomorrow's coverage. So do tune in for day 3 of the Women's World Cup. Congratulations to Canada for the big win here on home soil to go into tomorrow 2-0.